The untouchable beast in a dark corner of the universe. There was a creature that no one could defeat. It was known by many names: the Destroyer, the End of Worlds, the Untouchable Beast. For years, alien races had tried to fight it. They sent their strongest armies, their smartest minds, their deadliest weapons. But it never mattered. The beast crushed them all like insects. It had the body of a giant, with skin harder than any metal. Its eyes burned like suns. Its roar could shake mountains. When it moved, planets trembled under its weight. Everyone feared it. Everyone ran from it. And soon, entire parts of the galaxy were marked with one warning: stay away. The beast rules here. But fear was not enough to stop the destruction. The beast moved from planet to planet, leaving broken worlds behind. Some believed it was a mindless force of nature, like a storm. Others whispered it was a punishment sent by the gods. But no one knew the truth. No one dared to find out. Until, one day, a small human ship appeared at the edge of the beast's latest battlefield. It was not a warship. It had no big guns. It had no armies inside. Just one tiny ship, flying straight toward death. Inside the ship was a man named Eli Cross. He was not a soldier. He was not a famous hero. He was an engineer, a builder, a thinker. When other species heard about the human ship, they laughed. They called it madness, suicide. They said, humans are brave, but even they cannot be this foolish. But Eli was not foolish. He had a plan. His ship landed quietly on the dead planet. Dust and ash swirled around him as he stepped out. He wore no armor, carried no weapon, just a small pack on his back and a steady look in his eyes. The ground shook as the beast approached. Each step was like a hammer hitting the earth. Closer, louder, heavier. Ships from different worlds hovered in the sky, recording every moment. They wanted to see how quickly the human would die. Eli stood his ground. He did not run. He did not scream. The beast came into view. It was even bigger than he imagined, a living mountain of muscle and rage. Its claws could rip through battleships. Its mouth could swallow a tank whole. And now, it was staring at him. The alien watchers leaned closer to their screens. Some of them even closed their eyes, not wanting to watch the human's final seconds. The beast roared. The air shook. Rocks shattered. But Eli did not move. The beast raised its massive hand, ready to crush the tiny figure in front of it. Everyone held their breath. This was the end. Then, something strange happened. The beast paused. Its hand froze in the air. Its burning eyes narrowed, not with rage, but with confusion. The watchers gasped. The beast had never stopped before. Not for anyone, not for anything. Eli took a slow step forward, then another. The beast growled low, warning him, but it still did not attack. Eli spoke, his voice calm and clear. "You are not my enemy," he said. "I am not here to fight you." The beast tilted its head slightly like a curious animal. Eli reached into his pack and pulled out a small device. He placed it carefully on the ground between them. Lights blinked. A soft hum filled the air. The beast lowered its hand slowly. It leaned closer, sniffing the device. In the ships above, chaos erupted. Alien commanders shouted at their crews, "What is happening? Why isn't it attacking? What is that human doing?" But Eli ignored them all. He kept his eyes on the beast. "You were made for war," Eli said softly. "But you don't have to be a weapon anymore." For a long moment, nothing happened. The beast simply stared at him. Then, slowly it sat down. The watchers could not believe what they were seeing. The untouchable beast, the destroyer of worlds, had chosen to listen to a human, but this was only the beginning, because somewhere deep in space, those who created the beast were watching too, and they were not happy. They had built a monster to control the galaxy. And now, a simple human was about to break their greatest weapon. The real fight was just beginning. The human with no fear. The sky above the dead planet stayed dark for many hours after Eli Cross made the beast sit down. No one moved. No one spoke. Not the ships watching from the sky. Not the aliens who had waited for the human to die. Not even the beast itself. It was as if the whole galaxy was holding its breath. Eli stood quietly, feeling the heavy air around him. He knew the danger was not over. Not yet. The beast could still change its mind. It could tear him apart in a second. And the device he had placed on the ground, the little machine humming between them, was not a weapon. It was a message, a simple signal of peace. Most would call it foolish to greet a monster with peace. But Eli was not most people. He believed something that no alien general or scientist ever had. He believed that the beast was not evil. It was trapped in a cycle of destruction. It never chose. Eli had studied everything before coming here. Ancient files hidden deep inside human and alien databases, lost reports, forbidden experiments. All pointed to one terrifying truth. The beast had not been born. It had been built for war, built to obey, built to destroy. But what if it no longer wanted to obey? Eli smiled slightly as the beast sniffed the device again. A low rumble rolled from its throat, not a growl, not a roar, something softer, like a question. The human took another slow step forward. Dust rose around his boots. Every camera zoomed closer, capturing his every move. "I'm not here to control you," Eli said, voice steady. "I'm not here to hurt you." The beast's eyes narrowed. Deep inside those burning orbs, something flickered. Thought, memory, maybe even pain. Ships floating above the planet sent frantic messages to each other. Alien leaders argued whether to intervene. Some said they should blast both the human and the beast into ash. Others were too afraid to act at all. On one ship, a council of the Krivos species, ancient enemies of humanity, watched with growing anger. "The human plays with fire," one of them hissed. "He will bring ruin to us all." But they did not act. Fear chained them to their seats. On the ground, Eli knelt slowly. He placed a second device beside the first. This one sent out a soft wave of light that danced across the beast's thick skin. It was not a command. It was an invitation. The beast leaned closer. Its breath was like a storm, hot, wild, full of danger. But Eli did not flinch, not even when the beast's massive claws came within inches of his face. His heart pounded in his chest, but he forced himself to stay still. He remembered what he had learned. The beast hated fear. It smelled it. It hunted it. But respect confused it. And confusion was Eli's greatest weapon. The beast tapped one of the devices with a single claw. A soft tone played from the machine. A simple musical note. For the first time, the beast made a sound that was not a roar. A low, deep hum, almost like a sigh. In the skies above, alien watchers could not believe it. They had seen planets crumble under the beast's rage. They had seen cities crushed in minutes. But now they saw something far more terrifying. The beast was thinking. "He is waking it up," whispered an elder in the alien fleet. "He is waking up the mind that was buried under centuries of violence." Eli did not know if the plan would work. He only knew he had to try. Carefully, he pulled a small object from his belt, a crystal cube glowing faintly. Inside the cube was a recording, a message written in human and alien languages, a message of hope, a message that offered the beast a choice. Eli placed the cube in front of the beast. Then slowly he stood up and stepped back. The beast looked at the cube, its heavy brow furrowed. Then, with surprising gentleness, it picked up the cube between two massive fingers. The cube glowed brighter, recognizing the touch. The message inside played. Soft voices, human and alien, speaking words of freedom, of peace, of a new life beyond destruction. The beast listened, really listened. Ships above reported strange energy readings. The beast's power was shifting, changing, not shrinking, evolving. Then, suddenly, the ground trembled again. But this time, it was not the beast causing it. It was something else. A portal tore open in the sky, shining with dark light. Ships began to scatter in fear. From the portal, a massive vessel emerged. Ancient, black, covered in strange markings. The creators had arrived, the true masters of the beast, the ones who had built it, the ones who would not allow it to break. Free. A voice boomed across the sky, speaking in a language that hurt to hear. Return. Obey. Destroy the human. The beast flinched. Its claws tightened around the glowing cube. Its muscles tensed. For a terrible moment, Eli thought it would attack him. But then, the beast looked at him, looked at the cube, looked at the sky and made a choice. It roared, but not a roar of rage, a roar of defiance, a roar that shook the portal itself. The watchers above gasped. The alien creators snarled. The humans smiled. For the first time in its existence, the untouchable beast had said no. But the fight for freedom had only just begun. First encounter, the ground shook again, but this time not from the beast's steps. It shook from the energy pouring out of the black portal hanging in the sky. The creators had arrived. Their ship was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. It looked like a living shadow, twisting and turning in ways that hurt the eyes. It had no engines, no wings. Yet it floated above the ruined planet like a god watching ants. From deep within the ship, more creatures appeared. They were not soldiers. They were something worse. Machines made of bone and metal, carrying weapons that hummed with dark power. They had only one purpose: to take back their creation, to force the beast to kneel once again, and to destroy the human who dared to defy them. Eli Cross stood his ground as the first machine landed with a heavy thud. It stood twice his height, sharp and jagged, like a nightmare made real. The beast growled low beside him. Eli could feel the rage building inside the creature. But it was not wild, mindless rage anymore. It was controlled, focused. The machines pointed their weapons at the beast. And then, without warning, they fired. Bright beams of black energy raced toward the beast. Instinct screamed at Eli to run, to hide, to escape. But he stayed where he was. He had made his choice. The beast moved faster than anyone thought possible. It threw its massive body between Eli and the attack. The dark energy hit the beast's chest and exploded in a flash of light. The ground cracked. The air rippled. Ships hovering above lost their balance, spinning wildly. Alien watchers cried, out in fear. When the smoke cleared, the beast was still standing. Scorched, bleeding, but standing. It roared, not in pain but in fury. The machines hesitated. This was not how it was supposed to go. The beast was built to obey, to follow, to kill. Now it protected a human. Eli looked up at the creature, heart pounding. He realized the truth in that moment. This was not just a fight for survival. This was a fight for the beast's soul. And the beast had chosen. We need to move, Eli said quietly. He pointed toward a canyon nearby. Natural cover, a place to regroup. The beast nodded. It understood. Without another second wasted, Eli ran toward the canyon. The beast followed, shaking the ground with each powerful step. Behind them, the machines gave chase. They moved like spiders, fast and deadly, shooting dark beams that scorched the earth wherever they hit. Eli ran as fast as he could. His lungs burned. His legs screamed. The canyon was close now. Just a few more meters. A machine leaped ahead of them, blocking the entrance. It raised a weapon that looked like a claw made of lightning. It was aimed straight at Eli. There was no time to dodge. No time to think. The beast lunged forward. With one massive swing of its arm, it smashed the machine into pieces. Metal and bone flew in every direction. Eli dove into the canyon. The beast followed, covering the entrance with its massive body. For a few minutes, there was only silence, heavy, broken silence. Eli collapsed against a rock, gasping for breath. He looked at the beast. It was wounded. Deep burns covered its skin. Blood, dark and heavy, dripped onto the rocks. But its eyes were clear, focused, full of fire. "Thank you," Eli said, voice shaking. He wasn't sure if the beast understood the words, but he said them anyway. The beast rumbled low in its chest, a sound that was almost like a reply. For the first time, Eli felt something strange. Not fear, not pity. Something else. Respect, trust, hope. But the danger was far from over. From the top of the canyon, more machines appeared, their cold, empty eyes staring down. And behind them, floating above the portal, a new figure emerged. It was not a machine. It was not a beast. It was something worse than either. A creator. Tall, thin, wrapped in a cloak of shadows, its face hidden, behind a mask that looked like a broken mirror. Its voice whispered across the canyon, cold and cruel. "You are broken," it said to the beast. "You belong to us," the beast growled, low and dangerous. The creator pointed at Eli. "The human poisons you. Kill him, and you will be whole again." The beast stood still. Its muscles trembled, its claws flexed. For a moment, Eli saw the old pain in its eyes. The old chains pulling it back toward obedience. He knew he could die in the next second. One wrong move, one wrong word, and the beast would tear him apart. But he also knew something else. Something the creators could never understand. You cannot control a heart. Once it learns to beat for itself, Eli slowly reached into his pack. He pulled out the small glowing cube again, the message of freedom. He placed it gently on the ground between them. "Your choice," he said softly. "Not theirs, not mine. Yours." The beast stared at the cube, at the human, at the dark figure above. Silence stretched long and thin. Then, with a roar that shook the very bones of the world, the beast smashed the ground with its fists. The canyon walls cracked. The machine stumbled, and the beast turned, standing between Eli and the creator. It had made its choice. The watchers above gasped. The creator screamed. The human smiled. The real battle for freedom had begun. The beast's secret, the air inside the canyon felt heavy, almost too heavy to breathe. Dust floated, like tiny stars between the broken stones. Above them, the black portal still twisted in the sky, pulsing with dark light. The beast stood between Eli Cross and the creators, its huge frame casting a long shadow. It growled low, deep in its chest, a sound that made even the bravest alien watchers feel fear in their bones. Eli wiped the blood from a small cut on his forehead. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, from excitement, from hope. The beast had chosen him over its makers. But why? Why would a weapon, created only for war, choose a human stranger over its own masters? The answer, Eli knew, was hidden somewhere, deep inside the creature. And he was determined to find it. The creator above the canyon floated lower, its broken mirror mask flashing under the portal's sick light. Its voice, sharp and cold, cut through the air. "You are a tool," it said to the beast. "You have no soul, you have no choice, you belong to us." The beast lowered its head as if the words were physical blows. Eli stepped closer to the creature's side. He placed a hand against the beast's thick, scarred leg. The skin was rough like stone, burning hot with rage and pain. But Eli did not pull back. "They're lying to you," Eli said, voice steady. "You are more than a weapon, you always were." The beast made a deep rumble, a sound full of confusion and sorrow. For a brief moment, Eli saw something flash across the beast's mind, a memory, broken and bleeding. He saw the creature, smaller, younger, chained inside a cold metal room. He saw scientists, both human and alien, cutting into its flesh, building it stronger, harder, crueler. He saw commanders shouting commands, forcing it to fight endless battles, to kill without mercy, to destroy without thought. No home, no family, no name, only pain, only orders, only the endless, lonely silence after every war. Eli staggered back, heart hammering in his chest. The connection faded, but the truth was clear. The beast had never been a monster. It had been a prisoner, a child turned into a weapon. The creator above sneered, sensing the weakness. "Remember what you are," it hissed. "You are death. You are destruction. You are nothing without us." The beast roared, shaking the canyon walls. Rocks rained down from above. Machines scrambled to keep their balance. The watchers in orbit whispered, in fear. "It's breaking," some said. "No," others whispered. "It's waking up." Eli stood firm. He knew the beast was standing at a crossroads. Fall back into chains, or step into freedom, no matter how painful it would be. He reached into his belt and pulled out another device, an old human relic from Earth's early space days. A small metal locket containing a picture inside. It was simple. It was human. It was something real. Eli opened the locket and showed it to the beast. Inside was a photo, a young girl laughing under the sun, her hair flying in the wind. Eli spoke quietly. "This is my sister," he said. "I lost her in the wars you were forced to fight, but I don't blame you. I blame them." He pointed at the creators. "They made you this way. They built you for pain. But you don't have to stay what they made you." The beast stared at the picture for a long time. Its claws twitched. Its breathing slowed. Something inside it shifted. Something old. Something buried under layers of rage and blood. It remembered. It remembered being smaller, feeling something like happiness. Feeling the warmth of sunlight before it was dragged into the darkness of endless war. The creator hissed, voice sharp as knives. "Kill the human. Obey!" The machines raised their weapons again. They would not wait much longer. Eli knew they were running out of time. "You are not just their weapon," Eli said, voice rising. "You are more. You have the power to choose. Right now, choose freedom." The beast lifted its head. Its eyes burned, not with rage this time, but with something greater. Will, hope, fire. It turned away from the creators, turned away from the machines. It roared again, a roar so powerful that the canyon itself seemed to bow. Rocks split. The portal in the sky flickered, and then, without hesitation, the beast charged, not at Eli, at the creator's army. With terrifying force, it smashed into the first wave of machines. Metal bodies flew into the air like broken toys. Dark energy beams fired wildly, missing their targets. The machines were not ready for a beast that fought with a mind of its own. Eli grabbed the locket tightly in his hand and ran after the creature, dodging falling stones and broken machine parts. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. But he had a mission now. Fight beside the beast. Free it completely. And end the creator's hold forever. As they fought side by side somewhere deep inside the black ship above, the real masters stirred. The true creators. The ones who had built many beasts, not just one. And now they were waking up their next weapon. Something even worse than the first beast. The war for freedom was just beginning. The silent delta ground was a graveyard of broken machines. Metal limbs twitched uselessly. Wires sparked and smoked. The beast stood tall in the center of the wreckage, breathing heavily. Its body was covered in burns and deep cuts, but its eyes were bright, alive in a way they had never been before. Eli Cross stumbled to its side, coughing from the thick smoke around them. He leaned against a fallen rock, his chest burning with every breath, but he smiled through the pain. They had won. For now. The black portal above them flickered, unstable. The creator's ship hovered like a wounded beast, dark energy leaking from its cracked hull. But it was not defeated. Not yet. Eli knew the creators would not stop. They had built the beast once. They could build another. They could unleash horrors even worse than the first. He looked up at the beast, feeling the weight of the moment settle in his chest. They needed to end this. Completely. But how do you defeat something that creates monsters from nothing? Before Eli could speak, A low rumble shook the canyon. Not from the portal, not from the beast. From deep underground. The rocks near Eli's feet cracked open. A strange, glowing symbol appeared in the dust. The beast growled, a sound of warning. It recognized the symbol. So did Eli. It was a creator's seal, a mark of control. The creators were not just sending armies. They were activating an old trap. A voice echoed across the broken battlefield. It was not loud, but it filled the mind like poison. The beast belongs to us, the voice said. It always will. The ground split wide, and from the crack rose something terrible. Another beast, smaller than the first but faster, meaner, made entirely for death. Its eyes glowed a sickly green. Its claws dripped with acid. And worst of all, it had no mind of its own. Only orders. Destroy. Kill. Obey. Eli's heart sank. This was no simple fight. This was a test. The creators wanted to see if the first beast would defend its new freedom or fall back into slavery. The new beast charged, moving faster than any machine before. Eli barely had time to shout. Move! The first beast reacted instantly, stepping in front of Eli like a living shield. The two monsters collided with a force that cracked the earth beneath them. Dust and debris flew into the air. Eli ducked behind a broken wall, watching with wide eyes. The battle was brutal. Claws tore through, skin, teeth snapped at throats. Every blow shook the ground. The first beast fought not with rage but with purpose. It was no longer a mindless killer. It was a warrior fighting for its right to exist. But the second beast was pure violence. No thoughts, no fear, no mercy. For every hit the first beast landed, the second struck back harder, faster, crueler. Eli knew the first beast couldn't win by strength alone. It needed something more. A mind. A plan. A choice. Eli crawled closer through the rubble, searching for anything, any tool, any advantage. His hand brushed against a fallen machine's weapon, half buried in the dirt. He pulled it free. A dark cannon, humming with stolen creator tech. Dangerous. Unstable. Perfect. He shouted to the beast. I can help you. Buy me some time. The beast understood. It threw itself at the second creature, pushing it back with a roar. Eli worked quickly, fingers shaking. He ripped open panels, rewired circuits, overloaded the power core. The weapon's hum grew louder, higher, almost a scream. The second beast knocked the first to the ground. It raised its claws for a killing blow. Eli aimed the unstable weapon. He had one shot, no second chances. He fired. The blast hit the second beast dead center. Energy ripped through its body, tearing it apart from the inside. The creature let out a screeching roar and collapsed into smoking pieces. The first beast staggered to its feet, breathing heavily. Its body was battered, bleeding, but it was alive. Eli dropped the smoking cannon and ran to its side. For a long moment, they just stood there, human and beast, surrounded by death and fire and silence. Then, high above, the creator spoke again. You think you have won, it said, voice cold and empty. You think you are free, but freedom has a price. The black portal pulsed once, then began to shrink. The creator's ship drifted higher, pulling away from the battlefield. Eli frowned. This wasn't victory. This was retreat. Something was wrong. The beast growled low, sensing it too. Eli turned to look at it. In its eyes, he saw the understanding, the sadness, the acceptance. The creators were not giving up. They were leaving. Because they had planted something inside the beast. Something terrible. A weapon. A command. A trap. If the beast stayed, it could explode. It could wipe out everything around it. The creators were willing to destroy their greatest creation rather than let it be free. Eli felt his heart break. He had seen the beast's soul. He had seen its hope. And now, he was about to lose it. The beast looked down at Eli. It didn't speak. It didn't have to. It reached out, gently touching the human's chest with one claw. A silent goodbye. Then, without warning, the beast turned and ran, not toward the portal. Not toward the creators, but far away, away from the cities, away from the innocent, away from Eli. The human ran after it, shouting, pleading, but the beast never looked back. It had made a silent deal. To save its own soul, by sacrificing itself. High, above, the creators watched in cold silence. Their trap had been set. Their revenge would come. But deep in the ruins of the canyon, a human named Eli Cross made a promise. This was not the end. Not yet. He would find a way to save the beast. Even if it meant facing the darkness alone. The wrath of the canyon was silent after the beast disappeared into the distance. Only broken stones and burning machines remained. The black portal in the sky shrank slowly, becoming nothing more than a scar in the clouds. Eli Cross stood, alone in the ruins, his heart heavy with fear and determination. The beast was running toward its death, carrying the creator's trap inside its body. And if it exploded, it could destroy everything for miles. But Eli had made a promise. He would not let the beast die alone. Without wasting another second, he sprinted after it, stumbling through the rubble, lungs burning. Every step took him deeper into the unknown. Every step felt like a race against time. Above him, hidden from the rest of the galaxy, the creators watched. Silent. Calculating. Waiting. They knew what Eli did not. The trap inside the beast was not simple. It was alive. A seed of darkness that would not just destroy the beast, it would take control of it, turn it into a living weapon again. A puppet without mercy, unless someone reached it first. Eli ran faster. His legs screamed in pain. The ground blurred under his feet. He followed, the deep footprints left by the beast. Massive dents pressed into the broken earth. The sky grew darker. Strange winds howled through the empty land. The closer Eli got, the heavier the air became, as if the planet itself was warning him to turn back. But he didn't. He couldn't. Far ahead, he finally saw it. The beast had collapsed at the edge of a cliff. Its massive body shuddered, its skin glowing faintly with strange, sick energy. The creator's trap was waking up inside it. Eli slowed as he approached, careful not to startle it. The beast lifted its head weakly, its eyes full of pain, but when it saw Eli, something changed. It didn't roar. It didn't run. It simply watched him, waiting. Eli knelt beside the beast, heart pounding. He could feel the dark energy pulsing from its chest. It was getting stronger, faster, more dangerous. He had minutes, maybe less. Eli pulled a device from his belt, a small tool he had stolen from the battlefield. An energy stabilizer. It wasn't meant for this. It wasn't meant to save a living creature. But it was all he had. He placed the device against the beast's chest, the machine whirred, blinking weakly. "Hold on," Eli whispered. "Just a little longer." The beast closed its eyes, trusting him completely. The device struggled against the dark energy. Wires sparked, lights blinked. It wasn't enough. Eli gritted, his teeth. He needed more power. He needed more time. And then the sky above them tore open again. Not the small black portal from before, a massive rift, wide and furious, opening like a bleeding wound in the clouds. Through it came another ship, twice the size of the first, covered in black armor, glowing with evil light. The real masters had arrived. The creators were done playing games. They had come to destroy both the beast and the human personally. From the ship, beams of dark energy shot down, hitting the ground like thunder. Machines poured out, faster and stronger than anything Eli had seen before. He looked up, eyes wide with horror. They had minutes before the machines reached them, and the stabilizer was dying. Eli's mind raced. One option. One chance. He could leave the beast and run. Save himself, maybe even survive to warn others, or he could stay, fight, and probably die. He didn't even think about it. He stayed. Eli pulled out a second device from his pack, a broken signal booster he had been repairing secretly. He jammed it into the stabilizer, overloading it, risking everything. The machine screamed in protest. The beast roared in pain. The dark energy fought back, wild and angry, but slowly, slowly. The glow in the beast's chest began to fade. The trap was losing its hold, but it was not over. The first wave of machines hit the ground near the cliff. They swarmed like insects, weapons ready. Eli grabbed a broken metal rod from the ground. It wasn't much, but it was something. He stood in front of the beast, facing the machines alone. The first machine lunged. Eli swung the rod, knocking it aside. The second fired a shot. He ducked, feeling the heat of the blast skim past his head. He knew he couldn't hold them off. He wasn't strong enough, he wasn't fast enough, but he didn't need to be. He just needed to buy a little more time. The machines circled, closing in. Eli backed up until he felt the beast's side against his back. He could feel it breathing. Weak, but alive. He smiled grimly. "I'm not leaving you," he whispered. Then, just as the machines closed for the kill, something happened. The beast's eyes snapped open, full of fire, full of rage, full of freedom. It rose to its feet, towering over Eli. Its body burned with energy. Not dark, not sick, but pure and wild. The trap was broken and the beast was furious. With a roar that split the sky, it slammed into the machines. Metal bodies exploded under its fists. Dark beams bounced harmlessly off its skin. Eli dropped the rod and stared in awe. This was no longer just a beast. This was something greater, a force of nature, a symbol of what could never be chained again. The Creator's ship fired at them, desperate to stop the rebellion. But the beast leapt high, crashing into the beams, tearing them apart with sheer will. Eli followed, running after it, dodging rubble and falling fire. He wasn't fighting alone anymore. Human and beast, mind and muscle, free together. Above them, the Creators screamed in rage. Their perfect weapon had become their greatest enemy. But they were not finished yet. In the heart of their ship, a new horror stirred, a final weapon. One last nightmare built just for them. The war was not over. It had only just begun. The final stand, the battlefield, was a storm of fire and smoke. Machines lay broken across the ground. The beast, once a tool of destruction, now fought with the fury of a free soul. Beside it, Eli Cross ran through the chaos, every heartbeat screaming that they were not done yet. Above them, the Creator's ship hung like a dark sun, leaking sick energy into the sky. From deep inside its core, something terrible was waking up. Something worse than anything they had faced before. Eli could feel it in the ground, in the air. A deep, slow pulse, like a giant heart beating in anger. He looked up at the beast. It was breathing hard, wounds bleeding dark blood, but it stood tall and unbroken. They had fought so hard to get here. And now the true enemy was finally coming. The sky tore open. From the center of the Creator's ship, a new weapon descended. It was not a machine. It was not a beast. It was something in between. A monster built from pieces of every defeated army. Metal fused with bone, blood fused with fire. A mind full of hatred and one purpose only: destroy the rebel beast and its human ally. It landed with a crash that split the earth. The ground trembled. The air burned. The monster lifted its head and roared, a sound so deep it made the canyon walls crack. Eli staggered back. He had seen many horrors today, but this thing was something different. The Creators had made a final weapon, their last desperate move, and they had made sure it had no weakness, no mercy, no fear. The beast growled low beside Eli, muscles tensing, claws flexing. It knew this enemy. It understood what it was facing. It was not just fighting for itself anymore. It was fighting for every life the Creators had ever crushed. The final battle had begun. The monster attacked first, moving faster than anything its size should move. It slammed into the beast with enough force to shatter a mountain. The beast flew backward, crashing into the cliffside. Rocks rained down. Eli shouted, running toward it, but the beast rose quickly, shaking dust and stone from its body. It roared in challenge and charged back into the fight. The two giants collided again, each blow creating shock waves that blasted through the battlefield. Machines still loyal to the creators swarmed around them, firing dark energy beams. Eli ducked and weaved through the chaos looking for anything he could use to help. He spotted a fallen creator drone, its core still pulsing weakly. An idea sparked in his mind. He ran to it, yanking wires, pulling the power cell free. It was dangerous, unstable, perfect. He strapped the core to his belt and sprinted toward the monster. He knew he was risking everything. But so was the beast. They were in this together. Until the end. The monster grabbed the beast and slammed it into the ground. The world shook. The beast roared in pain but twisted free, slashing its claws across the monster's armored body. Sparks flew, metal tore. But it wasn't enough. The monster was too strong, too armored, too unstoppable. Eli climbed onto a broken pillar, getting higher. He aimed the stolen power cell at the back of the monster, at a small weak spot near its spine, the only place not covered in thick armor. He took a deep breath. Then he jumped. The fall seemed endless. He landed hard on the monster's back, the impact driving the air from his lungs. He fought to stay conscious as the monster thrashed and roared, trying to throw him off. Eli gritted his teeth and jammed the power cell deep into the monster's exposed wiring. The cell lit up, glowing, brighter and brighter. The monster screamed, a terrible, broken sound. Its body jerked and twisted, energy flashing wild around it. The beast saw its chance. With a roar of pure fury, it slammed its full weight into the monster's side. The two creatures tumbled across the battlefield, tearing the earth apart as they rolled. Eli hit the ground hard, pain flaring through his body. He rolled over, coughing, and watched as the monster staggered to its feet. It was wounded now, weakened, vulnerable. The beast didn't hesitate. It charged, slamming into the monster with everything it had left. They fought like ancient gods, claws against claws, rage against rage, freedom against slavery. And finally, with one last roar, the beast struck the monster's core. The stolen power cell exploded inside it. The monster howled as it collapsed, the fire eating through its body. It crashed to the ground and did not move again. Silence fell over the battlefield. Eli lay there, breathing hard, staring at the sky. The black portal was gone. The Creator's ship was retreating, damaged, defeated. The war was over. Slowly, painfully, Eli got to his feet. The beast limped toward him, bloody and battered but alive. They looked at each other, sharing a moment of silent victory. No words were needed. They had fought. They had bled. They had won. Not because they were the strongest, not because they had the best weapons, but because they had something the creators could never understand: hope, trust, freedom. The beast knelt down, lowering its head toward Eli. An invitation. A thank you. A bond. Eli reached out, placing a hand on the beast's massive brow. In that moment, man and monster became something more, something greater. They were no longer enemies. They were brothers in battle, allies in a galaxy that had tried to break them, and together, they would rebuild what had been broken. Together, they would protect those who could not protect themselves. Together, they would show the stars that freedom was a fire that no darkness could ever kill. This was not just the end of a war. This was the beginning of a legend.